Hey everybody, Nick here. Welcome back to the channel. So I did a video way back talking about regrets, and I think this is going to be a more in-depth version of that video about the topic. Now, we all go through life with adversity, with problems, with things that we have to handle and deal with, situations that are out of our control. We can't always, fix the problem. We can't always decide in the moment what is the right decision to make, whatever it may be, okay? Now, hindsight is 2020, and you want to be able to make the right decision with all the available information that you have available to you. And that's not always possible, depending on what the situation is, depending on what it is. I'll give you my biggest regret. And I don't want this to be about just me, but I wanted to talk about some of the regrets that I have and some of the things that I don't want to regret. Now, when my mom was in the hospital many years ago now, I wished I had went to visit her. I wish that I had been way more loving than I was, as she was with me. She was always very caring and took care of us as kids, even when I was a young adult living at home still, around the time of her death. You don't think that at that moment that you're going to lose this person. You don't know that, it could happen, obviously, but you're not thinking about that. That's the furthest thing from your mind. You're thinking that you have this person for a long time, that you'll probably be taking care of them in their old age. Now, my mother was not an old woman at the time of her death, leaving this place. So that was part of the equation as well. I didn't think that it would be, so soon and from whatever she was going through. Because the last time I actually spoke to her when she was fully with it, it was a fine conversation. It was over the phone, and she was asking me to come visit her at the hospital. I figured, and I remember I was at the damn mall while I was on the phone with her. It's as clear as day, and this is like 11 years now. Almost 11 years. And I was like, in my mind, I was thinking, well, she's gonna come home soon, so what's the point? I don't like hospitals. She was only in there for a couple days, so it's not like she'd been in there for ages. She'd been there for 1 or 2 days tops at this point. I don't know, maybe she knew something was going on, but there was no urgency in her voice. Anyway, I wished I had gone and seen her. I wish that I had been more affectionate with my mother, even as a young adult. I should have been a little bit more kinder, I guess. I don't know. I was upset for a few things with her, but the point is, if you have a loved one, let the small, stupid things go. Don't hold on to things. If they're in the hospital, whatever it is, try to make the time to spend with them, because you never know how much time you have with them. I would say that's one of my biggest regrets. And I've heard that you should never have regrets. That's the best way. I think it's inevitable to have some. I think it's only part of this experience, this human experience, that we're going to have them. The ideal would not be to have any, obviously. Some regrets that people will likely go through in this life, and I can honestly say that I don't have them. I still do want to travel more, so that's something that I do want to get done, just to explore this experience more. I think a lot of people wish they had gone traveling more, that they had done more in their life. Many people decide they go down one path that in the moment seems like the right decision, and then later on they're like, I wish I had done that. I wish I had gone there, or I wish I had, this or that. And I mean, that kind of regret is nowhere in comparison to like if you lose a loved one and you wish that you'd given more time, or there was a love of your life that you didn't pursue and you ended up going with someone else and it's not the person you really wanted to be. I'm sure a lot of people go through that in life. They choose the wrong partner. They don't have kids when they wanted to have kids, or they had kids and they didn't really want to have kids. There's always so many decisions that people make or don't make that end up being the wrong one or the wrong decision, and they should have made the decision. I hope that I'm making sense, but I think I am, because I'm sure that everyone has at least one regret, one really bad one. And the unfortunate thing with that is it's going to be with you unless you find a way to let it go for the rest of your life. I know that my mom wouldn't give a shit from what I just told you. She would be like, let it go, it's okay. I definitely know that. So it gives me a little bit of comfort. There's also those, like I was mentioning, choosing the right person. Maybe that person that you should have asked out and you didn't. You never know what could have happened. There's tons of possibilities as to what can happen by making a specific decision. Sorry, there's a mosquito right in my ear. And you don't want to have that what if, in your mind. You don't want that question to arise in your mind as what if I had done that, or what if I had asked this person, or what if it would be really torture, quite a torture for the rest of your life. I don't think it's a great thing, but I think so many people have gone through that. I really think a lot of people wish they had made the right decision way back, and once it's gone, there's not much you can do about it. You have to try to also learn from that, so that if you have one regret and another situation comes up, take it. Take that situation. Think about the past things that you regretted, and don't make those mistakes anymore. It takes a very strong person to let go of regrets. Letting go of really bad regrets, really strong ones that hold on to you. And that can be very emotionally draining. And you don't want your emotions to control you your entire life. That's just some sort of suffering that most people will go through. I think that regrets are inevitable. I think that it's just, we don't think about the consequences of whatever decision we ended up making. Some people do. I'm sure there's some people who don't have regrets. I'd say most people have regrets, but not every single person on this planet. Some people will have small, tiny regrets, and that usually goes away or whatever. So, I should have bet that. I would have won. I think there was a bet in 2019. Some guy was telling me he made a bet in Las Vegas on a hockey game for the Stanley Cup, whatever, playoffs. And he ended up winning $250,000. He put down 1,000 or something like that. I think it was for St. Louis to win. And he was thinking, if I hadn't made that bet, and I almost didn't make the bet, I would have regretted that terribly. So that's not a regret that's going to haunt you, because it's not like somebody you loved or somebody you were close to, in my opinion. Some of the things that I don't have regrets on, and was visiting my grandmother, going back to Canada to visit her so many times. I probably would have regretted that had I not gone back to see her visited her countless times. It was a very good decision I made. So there's always going to be things that you averted that could be possible regrets. And I definitely would have regretted that. There was a period of time that I wasn't able to see her. I wasn't able to go back to Canada for tyrannical reasons that were going on in this world a few years back. So that's definitely something that I avoided regretting. What other regrets? Getting to know my niece, leaving to live in another country, getting away from my home country, which has fallen quite hard. I think the very first time that I left to live abroad was a great decision of mine, and I'm glad I made that decision. So there's a lot of things that we can look back on that we can say, I'm glad that I did that. I would have regretted if I had not done that. And there might even be more of those than actual regrets for some people. There might be some things that we've decided and we're like, thank goodness I made that decision. Sorry, my phone going off there. Come on, Nick, turn off your phone when you're doing these videos. So I think the takeaway from this video is to try to avoid regrets at all costs. You don't want that to poison your soul the rest of your life. You want to try to just get over the regrets that you do have. Easier said than done, depending on what it is. And you have a real opportunity here. At this point, whatever regrets you've made in the past, depending on your age, you can try to learn from those and not make any more. And I wouldn't say that they're mistakes, because it's not like we always know what the result is or what it's going to be, what's going to happen. So we never predict the future. But you want to think hard about very critical situations, very sensitive situations, like if you have a loved one I mentioned with health problems or whatever it may be. I think you just want to try to avoid regrets. And again, easier said than done, but it would be better to think very hard before you make certain decisions and be aware of what's going around you. So try to access information to best make the right decision. That's all I can really say. And that's what I do from going forward in my life. I evaluate every situation, especially if it's something that I know could change drastically. So you want to do that. I think that's the best way to try to avoid more regrets. Yeah, I'm sure I'm missing a bunch of regrets that I could mention here, like taking that job that you should have taken. You would have had a better salary, or if you had gone on that trip, or there's so many different things. If you should have moved to this house rather than that house. And I made that mistake too, by the way. I paid for it with my peace and quiet. But yeah, it's very important to think about every situation, and that would be the best way in order to avoid regrets. And try not to let the regrets consume you. That would be the best piece of advice, because it's like something haunting you for the rest of your life. And I'm still working on mine. A few years ago, it would have been still very fresh, and I would have been still grappling with that. But I think these days I'm much better, and I don't really have all that many regrets, like very small ones, but they don't control my life anymore. So anyways, I'm gonna cut the video there, end the video there. And as always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video very soon. Bye for now.